I'm starting my hydrogen morning protocol. This is the way that I do it. This is 1.5 liters. Obviously, I use the cleanest water imaginable. I use a special carbon distiller. It's the only way to clean your water completely, all right? No water filter really can do it. I hate to say that. That's the science. Now, this is also the best hydrogen machine there is in order to make real clean therapeutic grade hydrogen. Obviously, it doesn't use any lye, it doesn't use any stainless steel, which is not the right way to do things. It doesn't use plated metals. It's not even from China. This is a hand-built Japanese device. It's obviously the best in the world, but this is the protocol. I only pour what I can drink literally in 1 to 2 minutes. So I'm gonna drink this down right now. And you know what? That's really good because I'm so thirsty this morning. The mornings is always when I'm the most dehydrated. And every time I put the pitcher back on the machine, it's maintaining full hydrogen. It's when I pour it in here that I have to consume it. And I'm trying to consume 1 liter in the morning. That's the maximum amount. Don't want to go over that only because anything over 1 liter in 1 hour strains the kidneys. And that has nothing to do with the hydrogen. That's just normal water. In fact, with the hydrogen water, maybe you could actually go a little over, but I just do 1 liter. And as you can see, I'm drinking it all basically pretty quickly. I'm just showing this to you guys because a lot of people don't understand how to consume the hydrogen water. So this is the protocol that I've been doing, and it works extremely good. And then I'm going to show you guys, this is going to be kind of like a podcast too. If you guys have questions, you can ask, we can interact. It's live, but I'm also going to be making some smoothie and packing it today because I'm going to be taking it with me and be gone for a while, going on another trip. And so that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you guys how I would do that. People have questions about that all the time too. People want to take it to work. People want to take it with them. So I'll be showing you how to do that today. But first I got to go through my hydrogen water. I'm almost there. I mean, this is already a good amount. You should also feel your body. You know, if you feel like you've had too much water, you're good. I'm starting to feel like I'm getting to that limit. And that's about good for me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to refill this again. Get some water here. And of course, carbon distilled, cleanest water. It's the only way to clean all bacteria, viruses, parasites. Basically the cleanest water. This is literally what they recommend to use things like in a neti pot because it's the safest. You don't want to put water in your sinuses that's not super clean. It's the same thing for drinking, in my opinion. All right, almost done with the hydrogen. There we go. Okay, time to make the morning breakfast. And I'm going to be using, I like to use my vacuum blender. It's kind of way better really for nutrients. But I'm going to be using the big blender today because I have to make a lot of smoothie today because I'm going to be taking it with me for a while. So I need a lot of it. So hold on 1 second. Get that going. We're going to make the ultimate health smoothie. Does some bonker things. And like I said, this is kind of like a podcast today with my viewers. You guys are welcome to ask questions. We could even talk about anything else. I mean, I'm just going to be making the smoothie while we're chatting here. So if you guys have random questions or you just want to chat about a specific subject like UFOs or just health questions, and I'll give you guys honest answers. I won't give you no medical advice today. I'm making no medical claims today. And everything I say today is the opinion of the speaker and should not be construed as claims for or against any product or products. All right, let's move forward with this today. get my silly looking apron, but I gotta say it's very, very helpful. So I'm gonna wear that. Now look, whenever you make a smoothie, you want to pair everything with fiber actually. That's the secret of, one of the secrets of nutrient absorption. The other one is what I just did, is loading up on the hydrogen water is also part of the secret of nutrient absorption, which is key for health. Now let me go grab the nutrients. Let's go grab those first. And you know, the reason that we have to load up on, put all these type of nutrients in the smoothie is because our food is just so deficient. So that's why. And so what I'm gonna do first is use this product. This product, and I'm very cautious about the products I picked. This one's from a website called ishoppurium.com. Maybe somebody can write it down there for somebody, because people are always asking, what's the name of that again? It's iShop, and then Purium is Purium as in Mary. All right. And the reason I like this product is because it's all food. The human body, according to research, really responds the best to food. And that's most likely due to our ancestors always got their nutrients from food. And I practice the same thing because I follow the data. I'm data driven, guys. I'm not driven on who's offering me the most money, because that happens a lot. These companies always trying to get me to promote something that I don't personally use. I will never show you guys something that I don't personally use. I only show you guys what I actually use, and I do a lot of research, and even down to me doing blood work and different type of testing. Somebody was mentioning like, well, there's many different types of testing, and I've done a ton to make sure that these methods that I'm doing are working, but it's also the science behind it all. This is turmeric, and all these are either anti-inflammatory, anti-parasitic, and they have the nutrients. Now think about that. You want to do something, ultimately, that is gonna bring you not only your nutrients, but it can even detox and be anti-inflammatory, anti-cancerous, anti-parasitic on top of it all. I mean, that's the goal. Raw cacao, I don't always put in. Yeah, it's got some good minerals. It appears to be good for cognitive health. It appears to be good for even potentially depression, things of that nature. And lots of other health benefits, even for the heart, actually. So really good. Now this is ground up apricot seeds. B17 is what they say is in it. And I did actually read some research about it, some actual scientific studies, and it does appear to potentially have anti-cancerous properties, plus it has nutrients and minerals, so I put it in there. But you don't have to. Remember, these are not halves. The one thing you have to, in my opinion, is the Purium powder. The Purium powder is really it. All this other stuff is just extras. Like this was a gift. Has some minerals, has some nutrients. I always try to add minerals in with my smoothie now because of the data and the research of when you pair the minerals with fiber, how much it really helps with better absorption. All right, moving on. All right, what's next? Let's get, well, let's see if this will be enough. Now see, this is the first key. We have the nutrients in here, all these powders. Now, you can mix them with water and stuff like that, and that's fine. But this is a secret that I would say, for some reason, almost no health guru knows about, and yet we actually have data proving this. Now, granted, a lot of this data is coming from Japan, and they do a lot more research on diet than we do. And they're way ahead of us when it comes to diet. I mean, when I say way ahead of us, there's a reason they live so long. And a lot of it has to do with the food they eat, really, because they have so much stress in their lives, and they smoke so many cigarettes over there, and they still live super long, lower cancer rates. And it's really the food, but they're kind of obsessed in Japan. It's really kind of interesting, actually. They're really kind of obsessed with health and food, and even the research of it. So they're just light years ahead of us. And one of the things, that they discovered that I'm actually trying to apply by doing all this is, one thing they discovered is that if you eat vegetables first thing in the morning, so first I have my hydrogen water that's super clean, excuse me, super clean hydrogen, super clean water, because water is the carrier for the gas, obviously. And that's the first part. Second part, gotta get these vegetables in you. So what they discovered in Japan in their research, which really led to really deep, like further knowledge about understanding the human body that we didn't even know. Doctors to this day, nobody even knew. They discovered it by accident. They discovered that we have these specific little pockets in our GI system. And if you eat vegetables first thing in the morning, they discovered that they help regulate blood glucose all day long. Now, if you want to understand anything about blood glucose, very, very important to keep it regulated. Yes, for weight, because people who are trying to maintain a healthy weight, but because higher levels of blood sugar increase risk. So for example, I'll give you this one research study. This was wild. 1 can of soda pop, the sugary soda pops, 1 can, when you drink it, increases your risk of bacterial and viral infection for about 6 hours and suppresses your immune system for about that amount of time, if not even potentially longer. That is wild. And by the way, sometimes people ask me, what are you doing there? I'm picking out all the bad spots. Every time I buy vegetables, there's always all these bad spots. And I don't want to consume those. I want the fresh, really good stuff. So a few of these bad parts, I'm just cutting them off. And so, again, consuming vegetables first thing in the morning, really, really important. And then later on, I found out if you put minerals in with all this fiber, now a lot of these fruits and vegetables already have minerals in them, but they are deficient, in my opinion. And that's because of the way things are grown these days and the soils. So what I started doing was, and I was doing this a long time ago, actually, I was putting minerals in the smoothie. I don't know where the way I came up with it was just because I thought, well, if I combine the minerals with the fiber, not so much with the fiber, but with these fruits and vegetables, thinking that these fruits and vegetables are deficient in them, that it would probably create a really great smoothie. Well, then there's research that came out literally years after I had done that. And it turns out that the research shows that if you do that, it actually, the patients that were in the particular study, they found that they were rebuilding their bone. Guys, this is huge. This is huge for people with like osteoporosis, degenerative bone disease, things of this nature. And so that's really huge. And you'll never hear your doctor talk about that. They'll probably tell you, oh, just take more calcium, which is funny, right? Because I remember I've said this story probably quite a few times where this doctor contacted me for my blood work and looking at things like nutritional deficiencies. And of course, they've done scans like on my kidneys and my bladder and all sorts of stuff. And they're always like, how are you doing this? And it's not even that complicated. Obviously, clean hydrogen water, which they never understand. And just really good absorption of the nutrients. So they say, well, how are you absorbing them so well? Well, obviously getting really well hydrated with the hydrogen water and then these smoothies. And they're like, oh, like you actually have to put effort in. And of course the powders, because they have all those nutrients. All right, well, we'll see if that's going to be enough. To be honest, it doesn't look like enough greens. Let's see here. Let me grab some more. Yeah, I think we're gonna need more than this today. Let's go ahead and put some more in here. Spring mix, these are different. This one's baby lettuce and baby greens. So this one's a little different. These are the super greens, but I'm all out because like I said, I literally had to leave town and then I got back and I gotta leave again. And I gotta be able to take this with me because I'll tell you, these, I don't wanna call them, I guess you can call them cheat days. I've been, when you're out traveling, you just don't get to eat. Well, I don't get to eat the way that I normally do. And I know for the average person, they probably just, I don't know, maybe they would have thought what I ate on my trip was healthy, but honestly for me, it wasn't. It was way too much. I mean, a lot of protein and probably too much. Too much protein is not really good for your kidneys. They have to filter through all that. And definitely not enough fiber. And so, I'll be right back. All right, let's see. I got a bunch of, actually got a bunch of secret ingredients for you guys today, if you haven't seen these videos before. And when I say secret ingredients, I mean, I'm talking about secret ingredients for your health, obviously. All right, somebody has a question and says, those aren't bad spots. They aren't? Okay. If it hasn't changed texture, then it's still fine. You're just wasting discolored healthy food. Definitely not. They're definitely bad. You can feel them. They're slimy. They're definitely bad. I know my produce. I've been doing this for a very long time, and when I used to consume them, it would make me sick. And so that's when I realized I need to be more diligent about taking out little bad stuff and washing them really well too. Yeah, if you knew me, you would definitely know that I'm highly against wasting really good produce and food, or anything for that matter. I'm actually a little anal about it. And so no, I'm definitely not into wasting food. And then it goes into the compost anyway. So that's for the soil out here we use. Let's get this washed. Thanks for the feedback, Mr. TK9. All right. Yeah, well here, look, I guess I could show you. If you really don't think that's bad stuff, oh my gosh, look at this stuff. This is disgusting actually. This is all black and slimy and rotting. It's bad stuff for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely not into wasting food. So this is the only way that I can take this stuff with me. And then I'll show you guys, once the smoothie is made, I'm actually going to show you how to make it last. So preserve it without any chemicals or anything of the sort. So let's go ahead and keep moving forward. Putting some of these greens in here. Let's see how much we can fit in here. The research, what was there some, I wish I remembered what it was. I mean, it was extremely positive. Let me see if I remember what it was. It had to do with some research that they did with greens. Now, I know one of them was telomeres and aging, and they did discover, like here's another bad spot right here. And let's see, somebody says smoothie time is always a good time. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I have to take it with me. If I don't eat this, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna save this for the next one. Today, unfortunately, I have to make it twice, guys. I gotta take a lot of smoothie with me. I'll probably only make one for you guys on camera though. Unless you guys really want to stick around. Let me grab some other ingredients. Next one. Blueberries. Super good for your vascular system. If you guys don't understand, you know, how important your vascular system is, well, I guess just ask and I'll explain more. Cece says, are there any sauces you think are okay for adding to meals, like soy sauce? Adding to meals. Sure, I totally understand. Sauces for meals. Okay, soaked walnuts in hydrogen water, high protein, good protein, with fiber actually, and oils and fats. And it just makes the smoothies really taste better. It makes them kind of creamy. I've noticed that, you know, being sensitive to the body, you kind of feel, I can feel that it needs certain things. Hydrogen raisins, soaking the raisins, like condiments. Condiments. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't use a lot of condiments, to be quite honest. I use some. Let me put, hold on, let me get, you know what, let's put a banana in here. I'm using extra bananas because I buy them when they're churning. There's a place that sells them, organic bananas, really cheap when they're just starting to churn, so I have extra ones today. Normally I only put one banana in here, but we'll go ahead and put two. And hold on one second. Condiments. I like, what kind of condiments do I like? You know what we could even do? I could even put, I could put soy milk instead of water too, but I like water. Okay. Condiments. I don't like, I guess what I could tell you is what I put on. I'm trying to think of an example for a condiment because I don't use a lot of them. I mean, okay, I do use soy sauce with wasabi. I mean, I do use that, which you kind of already kind of brought up probably. Let's see. Cece says, I know many are full of bad ingredients, so I was wondering if in your opinion, are there good ones to eat? Yeah, I mean, it's true. I would say that most condiments do have bad stuff in them. This, by the way, is a very good ingredient. This is ginger. Ginger's super good for you. The benefits with ginger are ridiculous, actually. So the only condiments that I use, like when I make my salad, I don't use any salad dressing. Now, that would be tough for the average person, including myself. Well, I've gotten so used to the vegetables, but I like to put sauerkraut. I'll either put sauerkraut or I will put kimchi all over my salad. The other thing that helps the salad for me is I will put a lot of nuts on it. The pumpkin seeds, I like pistachios on my salad. I don't know if that's really a condiment. You know, personally, a healthy ketchup, which is hard to find, a lot of the ketchups, they put sugar in them, but if you can find one that has good ingredients. I do like spicy sauce, like pico de gallo, or even certain healthy, like Tabasco style type of sauces. So I do like those. And you just have to check the ingredients, really, because I've seen two of the same product, like ketchup, even mustard, that looks bad from one brand, and then another brand is actually pretty good. Even I even recently found, though I don't consume, or I do my best not to consume dairy very often, though I did have some on this last trip I was on, but for the most part I try to stay away from it, so that way I limit it. But there was a really healthy blue cheese I recently found. It was more expensive, but the ingredients in it were really good. So I don't know if that really answers your question. It's all about ingredients. You just have to check the ingredients. You know, that's my opinion on that one. Okay. You know what I was supposed to put? Well, I'll put a little flax seeds in there. Hold on. I tell you what I would really like to put in my smoothie every day, but it would just get kind of spendy, and that's avocados. I would really love to put an avocado, maybe even 2 of them in my smoothie every day. So some people have been writing me who are in different areas of either the world or the United States. And, you know, if you have access to certain produce, you know, oh, you're welcome, Cece. She says thank you. Flax seeds, obviously, good omegas, again, good oils, good fats, healthy ones, not processed oils. And they even have fiber in them also, and have been shown in some research to potentially be anti-cancerous. We'll put those in there. But yeah, I think I would go with, what's the other thing that I was really interested in? You know what, let me put some hydrogen water in here. Give it some time to soak in here. Hold on. Actually, you know what, I'll bring it over so you guys can see it. All right. We're gonna put hydrogen water, enhance the smoothie. Some people think like, well, you know, remember this hydrogen's pretty stable. It's probably the most stable way of making hydrogen in the world as far as I've seen. And I've pretty much seen every method. So let that soak into the food a little bit. And yeah, but yeah, you know, soy sauce, healthy soy sauce and wasabi is actually a very good quote unquote healthy condiment. That's what I like about the Japanese. They're always trying to, if you notice, most of their stuff that they're, at least the cultural stuff, because things are changing these days, they try to make things healthy and delicious. And to me, that is the real, practically definition of wisdom in action, you know. And by the way, this is kind of like a podcast today where you guys can, you know, if you guys want to talk about any subject, we can. It's totally cool. You know, the viewers can bring up anything. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to continue to make the smoothie and stuff. Now I'm putting the beet in there, in the smoothie. But yeah, you guys can bring anything up. It doesn't even have to be just about health, whatever you guys want. But let's see, the wavy one says, majority of the time of it has more than 4 to 5 ingredients. I start backing away from certain products. That, you know what? I actually agree with that. I try to keep things as simple as possible. If I were to make one comment about the food or health lately is I see a lot of bread and cheese everywhere. People always buying like toast and, you know, like it's like pizza, you know, cheese and bread. You get a sandwich, it's bread with cheese on it and then meat or something, and you know, this type of things. What I would do, and I do personally, everybody can argue about this, but if I listen to my body, and I've gotten very sensitive, and you look at data too, I observe a lot of the healthiest ways that they eat in Japan. I don't think that some carbs are bad. I don't think that, you know, some, and again, portions are everything, really, in my opinion. You know, it comes down to the amount. And actually, let's put these hydrogen chia seeds in there. These are full of fiber, omegas, so protein and minerals. This, I mean, if everything in this smoothie, it's so full of minerals, fiber, and all these nutrients. It's just amazing. All right, we'll put that away. I can't believe I got to make this twice today. That's not going to be the funnest thing in the world, to be honest. You know what I should have done? You know what? That would have been a great idea. I should have had my two blenders, my two pitchers, my vacuum one and this one. That would have been, you know what? That would have been a great idea because you could see the color difference. I'm telling you right now, the vacuum blender is amazing. Hello from Michigan, says James. Hello, James. You made it to the live show, if you want to call it that, but it is live, and you can ask any question you really want. I don't know if I'll have an answer, or any subject you guys just feel like talking about. I just talked to, well, here, hold on a second. Okay, so celery is next. And I feel like the world is, you know, I will say this. Somebody recently just told me, I don't know what some of these words, if they're allowed on the internet, but let's just say there was somebody I know had a dream about an explosion of sorts. And of course, it's one of these explosions that would be very, very catastrophic, you know, because they're talking about like potentially World War III and all this stuff, you know, and quote unquote potential radiation fallout. And that's where I definitely don't think that most people understand this yet. But if you were to watch my video number 8, and if you were to do the research on hydrogen, and you want to load up on it, it actually appears, I saw it on some scans, it actually appears to load up in your body, which is great because hydrogen appears to protect you. And one of the things that it appears to protect you from, which is why they use it even in, I've seen it be used for certain patients undergoing certain types of radiation, and it appears to protect you from exactly that, from radiation. And what people probably don't realize is I named my channel Uprising 144K like a very long time ago. And I don't go into a lot of the things that I've seen. I mean, I guess I could someday, but some of it's just really out there, and I don't think it's for the average person, so I just don't bring it up. But let's just say that I named it that because, you know, the 144,000, the 144K in these ancient writings, by the way, you know, they seem like they were the last survivors. And I don't know why intuitively I felt like, you know, how are you going to survive something, even something catastrophic with a lot of radiation? I don't think the body could survive it without hydrogen and all your nutrient levels being, you know, topped off. But specifically hydrogen, it's really the one thing that seems to really help a massive amount with radiation. So that's one of the reasons that I named it that, and I think that it's so important right now in this day and age, especially with all the stuff that I feel like all the, I don't want to say poisons, but kind of poisons. Okay, so let's go back to somebody's questions, see where everybody's at. Somebody says, hello from Michigan, what are you making? I'm making basically a ridiculously healthy smoothie. I invented this a long time ago. I've been making it, kind of modifying it throughout the years, and it's basically my multivitamin, and it's also my nutrients, my sustenance. You know, it's helps detox the body. It helps with absorption of more nutrients on top of the hydrogen that I drank right before I started making this smoothie. And I did it all based on really data that I had read in a lot of scientific research. and started applying it. One of the first things that really got me intrigued was that study from Japan that showed that if you eat vegetables first thing in the morning, it also helps regulate blood glucose literally all day long. And I thought that was fascinating, but how am I going to get vegetables first thing in the morning in my body? Because there's no way I'm going to eat vegetables for breakfast. So I came up with this smoothie idea, and I've been doing blood work to verify that it really is working. And to my utter shock, it's better than working. I mean, between the clean hydrogen water and just this smoothie, I literally can't believe what it's doing to my body. And actually, it's not just me who doesn't believe it. My doctors don't believe it. I mean, when I say they don't believe it, I mean, they call me, like I said, I was just saying this story a little bit ago about the last blood work panel I got. And doctor literally had to call me and tell me that they literally, in all her years, and I believe she said she's been doing the blood work for almost like 3 decades or something, like a really long time. She's like, I've never seen blood work like yours, like ever. She said, that's why I had to call. She literally called me. I was scared. I thought, when I say scared, look, for people who don't know, I worked in the medical field for like 2 decades or more. And they don't typically call you unless there's a problem. If there's no problem, they just leave you alone. They don't call. If there's a problem, they call. So when I got a call about my blood work, you can imagine, I was worried. I was like, whoa, what's going on? Why are you guys calling? I really thought that maybe, you know, because again, remember, I had some very, very major medical problems. And you know, I'm not even technically supposed to be alive right now. So, you know, I always thought that I might have a relapse or something might happen to me. And so when the blood work call came in from the doctor, I was worried. I'm like, oh my God, what'd you guys find? You know, and instead she was like, I just never seen blood work like yours ever. She said, it's unbelievable. You don't have nutritional deficiencies, your inflammatory markers, just everything looks so amazing. And she said, I'm really impressed with your iron levels. And actually, a lot of the reason she was calling was because of her own, for herself, and she said her patients, but then the truth really came out. It was about her daughter. She said her daughter's been having issues. And this was a doctor, mind you. She couldn't figure out how to fix her own daughter. And when she saw my blood work, she's like, I have to talk to this guy because she thought I could help her with her daughter. Now, she wanted to know what I was doing, and that included diet. Now, when I told her what I was eating, which I don't, the only reason that I don't like to get into, I have no problems talking about it or even some of the data in regards to diet, but the way people react is always funny to me. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong with, I mean, as long as the foods you eat are fresh, clean, and healthy, and in certain portions, everything's all good. But when I told her the way that I ate, she couldn't believe it. She's like, there's no way. How are you keeping, like, for example, she was actually really in awe about my iron levels. Because I don't eat, me personally, and this is for other reasons, not necessarily for just health, but I don't eat meat, okay? And for people to understand why I do that, there's multiple reasons, but one of the biggest ones is because I had this very deep anti-parasitic cleanse. I saw the stuff that came out of me, and I felt it. I mean, you feel it like immediately. It's like something unplugging from your brain. And I saw the world so differently, and I couldn't believe the way I was seeing it, and so much brighter, so much happier, so much more at peace. I just loved the way that I felt and saw the world, because I'd been dealing with a lot of difficulties, including depression, from a very young age, from like the age of 7 or 8. And so when I felt this kind of magical feeling, I was like, okay, I want to feel like this all the time. And so that's one of the reasons that I wouldn't eat meat. And she just couldn't believe, she's like, I cannot believe your iron levels. She said, my daughter eats, I'm telling her what to eat, and she clearly eats meat because she says she's trying to get iron. And she's even taken iron supplements, and she still can't get her levels right. And when she saw my levels, she's like, your levels are literally perfect. She said, how in the world? And like I said, when I told her that I don't eat some of those foods, she just couldn't believe it. She's like, that's impossible. She said, it should not be possible. She goes, oh, wait a second, do you supplement iron? And I said, no, I don't. I don't take really supplements. I did the powders, those are just food. Let me pour some more hydrogen water in this, hold on a second. And so she was just blown away, but when she asked for more detail, and I started telling her how I make the hydrogen water, how I make the clean water, and how I make these smoothies, she's like, oh man, my daughter's not gonna do that. You know, she's like, there's no way. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna let that soak just for a second. Let's see if I can answer some of your questions actually. Let's see here. What are you? Cece says, I have been getting into the routine of making your smoothie daily now for 2 weeks. And now my boyfriend wants to join and have a cup daily too. Yeah, it's so good for you. Cece says, I put all the ingredients from one smoothie into my Fitness Pal app and saw that there is 40 grams of fiber in the whole smoothie. Hey, good for you. Thanks for letting me know that too. I never count. Which I split over lunch and dinner, which I also think is a smart thing to do. Splitting over lunch and dinner if possible. Ed says, I recently read 144,000 has a meaning similar to the number 7 being perfectly. Now I can't remember what it is. Yeah, it's okay. So, I mean, there's a lot of meanings, but ultimately it is in ancient scripture, part of the 12 tribes, each one having 12,000 equaling the 144,000. And in these ancient writings, they basically say that those are the guys who survived the quote-unquote apocalypse, you know? And you can wonder why they survived. All right, hold on a second. I'm refilling this hydrogen machine. The reason I'm refilling it is because I'm going to make another smoothie. So I'm just going to refill it right now. And make more hydrogen water. There we go. Okay, now the question is, do you think this will actually blend? I mean, that's ultimately the question. And, you know, those 144,000 were all dressed in what they called white robes, which, you know, in the ancient scriptures, I think that it's actually symbolic, you know, white robes being symbolic of one, light and purity. And like I said, when you purify the body from like all these chemicals and poisons and toxins and even parasites, guys, I mean, I've lived it. I am shocked because I'm the kind of person, I don't really believe in like, let's just say that I'm a really big skeptic. I don't believe in a lot of stuff. Most of the time I either have to have extremely good data or I really have to experience it myself. And I remember when I did that cleanse, I didn't actually believe in it. In fact, I didn't even want to do it, and it was also not cheap, and it was just so difficult. And I did it because, it's a long story of why I decided to do it. And it was life-changing. So it was extremely, extremely important. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and blend this and I'll answer more of your guys' questions, okay? Let's see if it actually blends and works. So we're about to find out. Because there's a lot of stuff in this blender. Pretty good, guys. Okay, I have 3 magic ingredients to bring your health to a level. By the way, I don't see any thumbs up. Wow. Oh wait, I have 6, but there's 32 people. Come on, guys, support the channel. It's free. And it just shows kindness. I love when people show kindness, by the way. I believe that would make the world a happier place. All right. Okay, moving on. I got 3 magic ingredients for you guys. And very, very important ones because these will take your health. You combine it with this smoothie and it's unbelievable. So I'll show you here. A 3 super important, can't emphasize it enough, ingredients for your health, for your bones, for your good hormones, testosterone, good estrogen levels for women, good for cognitive health, immune system, heart health, for bones, and even more than the science almost even knows, only because I recently learned from literally the number 1 expert in the world about this ingredient I'm about to add right now. And if you add it to the food, in my opinion, I don't think there's any research on this actually, but this is my opinion. But every single time I do stuff like this, and then a study comes out, it literally proves that I was right because it just makes sense. And that is, vitamin D3 with K2 in its ionic form. And I don't even have to add much because my levels are already really good. I just maintain the level. So I'm only putting like 3 drops, which is about 2,000 to 3,000 IUs. Okay. And then I pour the rest of the smoothie in. And by the way, the vitamin D3 is like a healthy fat or oil. And you want some fats. That's the reason I put like flax seeds. That's the reason I put things like the walnuts. Even the apricot seeds have good fats and omegas. This is really good. This is another magic ingredient, hemp hearts. It is the most well-balanced protein in existence known to man, omegas 3s and 6s. The balance is important for your health and good healthy fats again, and a ton of really good minerals and nutrients. This thing is almost a multivitamin in of itself. It's one of the top superfoods, and it's hard to believe really, and I absolutely love the taste of them too. So that's the 2 ingredients, and then I got the last one, which I'm gonna take you guys with me here. Hold on a second. And then I'm gonna make another smoothie, but I'll probably turn off the camera for that. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let me show you how I pack the smoothie just right now, since we're all here, might as well just show you. I'm gonna blend it just a little bit more, a little chunky stuff. All right, here's how you pack it, guys. No preservatives, no chemicals, nothing of the sort. And I don't think it's a big secret or anything, but I don't see anybody doing it really. So you're about to see, I gotta dry this out because I just washed it. No residue of tap water. Okay, here we go. So what I do is I'm gonna pour, remember I'm taking this with me, and I will not be drinking it today. So I'm gonna add this vitamin D again for tomorrow. 1, 2, 3. And here comes the secret. What you do is, you don't fill up the jar all the way. Fill it up to about right here. Excuse me. Okay, then take these special lids. Make sure they're dry. This guy. Okay, we put this lid on. I don't know if you can see from there. And I'm putting this vacuum sealer. I put the lid on. There we go. And I'm gonna vacuum it. Almost done. All right, so there it is. Release the vacuum. And this thing is sealed. So now that it's sealed, I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator like this. It's gonna stay good for a long time. And when I transport it, I'm gonna put it in a cooler. All right, now I can answer a few questions while I sit down here and have the last magic ingredient that helps with nutrient absorption, get the nutrients not only in the blood, but where the blood actually takes it. So I gotta open up what's called ghost vessels on top of it and get proper blood movement. And that's inhaling hydrogen literally while I have the smoothie. It's a technique I created. Nobody in the world does it. I literally invented it. And just watch, in the future, pretty sure they're gonna prove I'm right, because they already took my other hydrogen protocol and studied in 2 different studies, and they already proved that it works better than any other protocol ever. And it's only because it just makes sense. It's not because, you know, I'm psychic or anything. It's just, it just makes sense, you know. You know what? Hold on a second. Let me take another sip. And then I'll read your questions or comments. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Trying to get all set up here for you guys. Okay. It's always hard to read the screen here. Okay, Diane says, using the Holy Hydrogen machine, does it matter if you're hypothetically at the 60-minute to the 90-minute hydration period, you take some water to drink and don't refill, yeah, you don't have to refill it. To be honest, you don't even have to run it for 60 to 90 minutes. You only have to run it for 30 minutes to fully saturate 1.5 liters. So I've made a ton of videos showing how to do that. 30 minutes, all it takes. Okay, Diane Bongirno. Basically, is it mandatory to be hydrating the water to the 1.5 liter mark after it's received 30 minutes of the hydrogen process, but is still on the mode within the 90-minute process? I don't think I totally understand, but it's really simple, okay? Let me just explain this real simple. The pitcher is 1.5 liters. The machine will fully saturate half a liter every 10 minutes. So it's 1.5 liters in 30 minutes, it will fully saturate it all. If you only had half a liter, it only takes 10 minutes. If you have 1 liter, it takes 20 minutes. If you have 1.5 liter, it takes 30 minutes. If you pour some of that water out and you put new water in, that new water doesn't have hydrogen in it. So you have to run it for however much time based on the amount of water you're putting in. This came out good. So hopefully that answers your questions. Ed says, I got it. 12 by 12, the total number of the whole people of God. That's right. That's right, Ed. And so it's just a wild thing because, you know, like I said, I'm a skeptic. It's hard for me to believe certain things. And these days, with the amount of quote unquote misinformation and all the different things, and by the way, thanks for all the thumbs up some people gave them. And in fact, you know what? So inhaling this hydrogen while I'm drinking the smoothie, it's worked so good. A really good technique. Now, I wouldn't do it with, I'm sure you guys know this, I wouldn't do it with just any type of hydrogen because it has to be one molecular hydrogen because that's where the research is at. And then also, it has to really be made cleanly and properly, especially when you're doing it in the water or in food, you know. I don't have to filter anything because it's made purely and properly. Yeah, some of the knowledge, not even know so much about the 144,000 is actually in this book. This book, a lot of people say it's a scam. When I first read it, I would have probably agreed with them. I would have been like, you know, it's probably not real. Take it with a grain of salt. The problem is, for me, I don't normally go into a ton of detail about it, but I ended up having, I was telling you guys about getting the parasites out of the body and stuff. This book is supposed to be a translation from ancient scrolls, like literally like the Dead Sea Scrolls. And it may not sound real to the average person, and there's stories in here about the man is known as Jesus, or Yeshua was his real name, but you know, this is supposed to be from the hidden archives of the Vatican. Now that may sound like nonsense. I totally get it. The only reason that I got, man, relatively convinced is because in part of the story, there's two things that are mentioned in that book. I take that back, three things that are mentioned in that book that I myself have experienced, witnessed. And that is when my mind was blown. I'm like, how in the heck is that information in here? And that's when I felt like I could trust him more. And I even used a lot of the health techniques because the man known as Jesus in this book talks about techniques on how to take care of the temple and how to take care of health and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, it's interesting. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but then I looked at scientific evidence also. And then I also looked at the way a lot of the Japanese do things because they live so long and the health aspects of it. So I took information from all sides to create the protocol that I started doing, and it worked really good. And it's kind of wild, right? And then on top of it all, There's just other stuff in here. It was so crazy. It's hard to believe. I totally get it. And people choosing to not believe it, I would totally understand why. Kayla Berta says, when you do an inhalation session for hydrogen on the Hydrofix, do you recommend drinking hydrogen water before or after? Excuse me. Can you do both? Oh, absolutely. In fact, that was literally the technique that I was talking about that I created. So I created a technique a long time ago where you drink the hydrogen water first. If you noticed, if you watched at the beginning of the video, I drank my hydrogen water first. I let that water go through me. You don't have to wait for it to go through you when you're gonna do inhalation, but I let it go through me because then I'm gonna eat. So I wanna give my body at least 20 minutes, maybe 30, before I start eating. Then, by the way, thanks for all the thumbs up, guys. Though there's 33 people in the room and only 9 thumbs up, so it's free, guys. I don't know, it helps the algorithm too, which is really helpful. But anyway, so what ends up happening is when you inhale the hydrogen after you drink the hydrogen water, that was my protocol. That was one of my protocols. I have different ones. And then what ended up happening is 2 studies came out, copied my protocol. I knew that they had watched my channel actually. And it actually showed that my protocol worked the best than any other method ever done actually so far in the world of hydrogen. You can drink it afterwards too, but it's drinking it before that's the key. That's the magic part. And then Karam asks if I'm Muslim. No, I'm not Muslim. I have no religion affiliate. I don't affiliate myself with any religion. I would say that I'm highly spiritual. It's been a huge part of my life only because it's really odd, but it's really kind of funny, really. I've been looking for happiness ever since I was around 7 or 8 years old. And when I say looking for it, like really, oh, thanks for the thumbs up. I saw some people did it. Thanks, guys. Let's just say it's been an important, intricate part of my journey. I never thought that looking for happiness would lead me down a spiritual path. I just wanted to be happy because I wasn't at a very young age, and it was very, very hard for me to go through that. Okay, let's see. Diane Bongirno says, thanks. When we're breathing in the hydrogen, and by the way, here's a technique for you. When you're breathing, take deep inhales periodically from the nose, and one more. Doing that periodically while you're inhaling enhances it. And then let's see here. So Diane says the water level needs to be at 1.5 liters, but doing a 90-minute breathing session, you drink a portion, it's fine to leave the remaining water in the pitcher. I don't know exactly what you're saying, Diane, but if you're asking if the pitcher needs to be full to do the inhalation, the simple answer is yes. So if you pour water out of it, you have to pour water back in. You want the pitcher full when doing inhalation. If you do inhalation for like 90 minutes, which I have mine set to right now, that water is going to be full of hydrogen by the time I'm done inhaling. So I could drink that water. Anybody could if they wanted to. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, let me know. Carol Orton says, you're welcome. Yeah, thanks for all the thumbs up, guys. I mean, we have 30-something people in here. We should at least have 30 thumbs up. We only have 11. Okay. Unless I'm like totally boring you guys. Let's see here. The next one, Kayla says, thank you. Michael Kaukomieli says, hi, you're really my idol. Wow, really? And I wish healthy and wealthy as you. Thank you for saying, wow. Well, thank you. That's extremely kind. I don't know, as anybody's idol. I do my best to try to be my best, both taking care of my body. So that's really, really important for me, taking care of my health. Life is short, guys. You want to feel your best. You can have cheat days periodically, like, oh, I want a pizza or something. I do that too, but not very often. And then, you know, it feels good to feel good. And then, of course, just be nice to people. And that's the reason, like, for example, there are a lot of companies who try to get me to promote their products. And have even offered me a lot of money. And I've turned them down because they're terrible products, like the Brown's gas products. I've been asked to promote those. I will not promote them. I will not use them. I have used them in the past and they were horrible. It's the reason that I don't use them. And I never promote or share anything with you guys because of the money. It's always because what I'm actually using, and I take my health very seriously. And that way you guys don't have to do as much homework. You know, it makes it easy for people. That was kind of the goal. I mean, I put so much effort in it. It saves you guys time and money. I spend so much money trying terrible things and so much time researching stuff. Carol Orton says, that answered my question too. I wanted to know if you drink the water after the inhalation. You know, I don't. Because I already loaded up on my hydrogen, if you saw the beginning of the video. And then now I'm doing my smoothie and all the nutrients while I'm inhaling it. I got plenty. I will be drinking hydrogen later. So I don't know if that answers the question. Carol says, I don't know how I found you, but I'm so glad I did. You know, I don't know how you found me either, Carol, but I'm glad you did also. I mean, anything that can help you guys be healthier and happier, or help any friends or family, you know, relatives, because I've had people in my life and family members who have suffered from medical issues, and a lot of these techniques help so much. I mean, when I say so much, like absolutely dramatically. In fact, I could share one quick story for you. Well, maybe if after I read some of these comments, if somebody wants to remind me, but it's an interesting story. But let's see. Cece says, I think you are an inspiration to many people. Well, that is extremely kind of you. And I appreciate it. I don't know if I am, but if I am, I mean, I'm grateful, I guess, for that. But more than anything, I really want people to get healthier and be happier. I believe that will make the world a better place. Ed says, is it true Dead Sea Scrolls mentioned magic mushrooms? Do you know if it specifically says that? In my opinion, magic mushrooms do have something to do with the spiritual path. I say that because there was one translator, and by the way, I don't know how much detail I should go into this, but I have a history of translation, so I understand. I've looked into the ancient languages. I know about translation. And what I can tell you a lot of interesting things actually about language, but the biggest thing I can tell you is there is a translation that talks about Amanita muscaria, and I have, if you guys want to see something crazy, if you guys want to see it, just comment and I'll go grab it. I got some Amanita for you. But there was also a really good research, I can come back to it if you want, some interesting research about ancient Christianity and some actual evidence now. And there's more people commenting, so maybe I'll come back to that if you guys want. Breeze of Peace says, hey Greg, could you explain a bit why the hydrogen water is better for hydrating the body? Well, simple fact is because the science shows that it is. It basically appears hydrogen is hydrating. And it's interesting because the opposite, which is oxygen actually dehydrates you. It actually dries you out. People who use oxygen get dried out. It's just a common thing. We know that. And that's why you don't want to supplement oxygen regularly. In fact, we're already breathing in plenty of it. And we have about 20% or, roughly in our atmosphere, depending on, atmospheric pressures and where you're at on the planet, but roughly 20%. And the key is not trying to get, supplement more oxygen. The key is to try to get your body to be efficient, just like I was saying about being able to absorb nutrients. You want to make your body efficient so you can utilize the oxygen in your environment. I've known people who had issues with oxygen saturation levels, and they're trying to supplement oxygen. It's ruining their lives. And they get on hydrogen, and all of a sudden their levels start going up of oxygen because we already have oxygen. You just need the hydrogen to balance it all out. Ed says, glad you found yourself here, Carol. That's cool. Yeah, they always say don't talk about politics and religion. I have no problem talking about it, but people always get upset, But I have no problem talking about it, but I can share things if people want. And I'm pretty data driven, or I have to have direct experience. And I'm even very, very skeptical of even my own experiences. So it really has to be very, very profound, without a shadow of a doubt, not really quote unquote placebo effects type of stuff. The Wavy One says, seen a lot of healthy personalities over the years. I know there's so many of them, and some of them I won't make a comment about that, but you said personalities over the years. I will say in my book, you are one of the legit ones. Well, wow, thank you. Health is simple. I agree. And the birthright of every human. Thank you for your contributions. I very much agree with you, actually, the Wavy One. Interesting name. But yeah, I think so many of these quote unquote health gurus and all this stuff, it's all become about selling products. It's always the next supplement, it's always the next pill, it's always the next product. And you don't need that many things really to get healthy. I don't promote 100 products or 200 products or 300 products. I think I only support at this point something like 6. And the biggest ones are my carbon distiller, which I can show you is running right now. You have to clean water. You gotta have clean water. That's just the end of it. You have to have clean water. The hydrogen is truly magical. That's the other product that I really like. And then the purine powder is like the nutrition. The nutrients is super important. But thank you for the kind comments, guys. Love it. Okay, Kirsten Chambers says, hi, Greg. I just got here. So I'm trying to pick up on what you're talking about. Is that oxygen in your nose right now? No, it's pure hydrogen. I do not want to be supplementing oxygen, just so you know. I'm about to do a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. Been doing it regularly recently. Look, the hyperbaric oxygen chambers, there is some benefit to them, but you also don't want to overdo it. I was just talking about oxygen. Look, remember that oxygen is oxidizing, guys. Oxidizing is basically death. That's one of the reasons that oxygen has some benefit. It's good for killing things, even like ozone, which is another form of oxygen. It's just O3 instead of O2. Is really good at killing pathogens and whatnot, but oxygen does dehydrate you. It literally dries you out. That's why if you were to be inhaling oxygen, like in a hospital or something, it will dry you out. Hold on, I'm gonna grab more smoothie. And last one, we gotta make some more. Oh, shnikes. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll just show you guys here because I'm gonna be adding more hair parts. And so I'm not like super against oxygen, but as I was just saying a second ago, we're already breathing in plenty of it. We're already breathing in roughly 20% oxygen in our atmosphere. So what we really want to do, the goal is to make the body more efficient at utilizing it. And hydrogen, actually, I've found it does. So I've literally used hydrogen, and that increases the oxygenation because your body is becoming more efficient. So I don't know if that answers anybody's questions, but we just talked about it. I'll tell you one thing. I would focus more on hydrogen than oxygen. With oxygen, when you exercise, you can do breathing techniques like Wim Hof. You can do those type of chambers, but this is an interesting fact for you guys. And look, to prove it, because I don't want to misspeak, but I've already read it. But let me just pull it up. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so here we go. This is important. People want to know, how do I oxygenate more? Should I buy an oxygen machine? I don't think you really need it. You're going to be shocked to find out that this smoothie will help you oxygenate your body. Why? Look, I'm reading the data right here. So there are foods that help oxygenate your body. I don't know if you guys understand why this happens, and I could explain it if you want, but here I'm just gonna give you some list of foods that literally have been proven to oxygenate your body, your blood. Lemons, beets. I just put beets in that smoothie, remember? Avocados, I eat avocado almost every day. I would put it in my smoothie every day, but it gets a little expensive. Spinach, you guys saw my rich leafy greens, including spinach in the smoothie. Carrots, I just put that in the smoothie. Beans, I oftentimes put a fermented bean called natto in the smoothie, but not every single day. Turmeric, I put that in the smoothie too. Remember, I put the turmeric, what's it called, powder. And then ultimately foods that have basically vitamins, mineral content that ultimately play a role in oxygenating and oxygen supply throughout your body. Now, according to the actual scientific data, what are the foods that oxygenate, or even ultimately what oxygenates you a lot? I already said breathing exercises, that's actually one. Going outside and having fresh air is also really good. I guess quote unquote yada yada yada, I mean, a lot of the vegetables are the ones that I found that actually oxygenate the body. And then they also A lot of these foods actually get the body to produce what's called nitric oxide, even better. So the nitric oxide, again, opening up the blood vessels, relaxing everything, kind of similar to what Viagra kind of does. And that just naturally, again, in these smoothies. And then with the hydrogen combined with all the nutrients, and while I'm inhaling, you can imagine why my body is absorbing all these crazy nutrients, very, very well oxygenated. And apparently, like I said, according to doctors, my blood is like out of this world. And it's not rocket science. It's just clean water with the hydrogen and these smoothies and getting all my nutrients. It's like so easy. Absolutely crazy. Okay, next person. Kristen Chambers says, are you using a specific device for the hydrogen part of this? Give me a quick summary of what I've missed. Yes, this is a very specific machine. In my opinion, guys, I hate to say this, but this is what my research led to, and I did a lot of it. In my opinion, almost every hydrogen machine out there, in my opinion, is just crap. And I mean, some of it's like worse than crap. Either you're not going to really get the benefits, and maybe even potentially could even have detrimental effects to your health. The machine that I found after all the research, the data led me to it. I'm data driven. And when I found that, it was kind of funny because it's the #1 machine in Japan. I should have been able to find it so much easier. And then I found one of the top doctors in Japan who's a hydrogen specialist. He will only use this machine, and it's the only machine he recommends to his patients. So I was like, wow. And the website for that's holyhydrogen.com. If you guys want to see the official, that's an official company with an official product, as there are fake ones out there, because when it's #1, China's tried to make knockoffs and stuff. Just be careful. I've known people who literally have gotten some knockoff machines. Okay, let's see here. Moving on. The Wavy One says, I feel like the products you promote are just a necessity in our modern world. You know what? I totally agree. You've been promoting the same products for years. They have stood the test of time. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Okay, Mr. Hydro Guy. Been using the HHO generator for 2 years now daily, have had no negative effects. Well, what you don't realize is that there's people out there, they make this comment all the time. What happens is, I could drink tap water for 2 years and say, well, I've got no negative effects. I'm still, doing just fine. The problem is that I already know the science behind the HHO products. There's a reason that they don't allow them in Japan. Okay, there's a reason that was what medically approved was molecular hydrogen and not HHO. And I even looked deeper into it to see how much the Japanese really knew about HHO, and they know a lot about it. In fact, they know way more than America does. In fact, they have, and I've never shared this information because I was too concerned that, see, people do these silly things again for the money. So there's those HHO products are, dare I say, just not really good in the world of hydrogen, especially if they use lye, which is sodium hydroxide, which is the main ingredient in Drano, by the way. Oh, it's horrible. And if you have one where they're trying to filter the gases, it's even worse, because that's just letting you know that they're making toxic substances potentially that they have to try to filter out, and they're not even doing a very good job at filtering them out. And I've talked to people who've literally worked for those companies, almost like inside whistleblowers. I don't even want to get into it because the whole thing is so sad and so terrible. But if you want to do that, you do your thing. I mean, I'm trying to provide good information, not information that is, based on basically a lot of terrible guidance to people. I've known people who get really, really sick from them, and especially when they're already sick. The healthy people, I mean, I used it myself. I've used HHO. I didn't like it one bit, and I'm very sensitive to stuff. I'm like a canary in the mine. But moving on, Ed says, just to let you know, I can't give thumbs up like a usual live stream. Even if I go out, I can't see the like button. Well, Ed, I appreciate it. Yeah, if anybody can give a thumbs up, it helps the algorithm. It's just fun. It's cool. It's, if you don't do it, it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to lose my marbles. Kirsten Chambers says, oh, neat. I get it and love hearing these different points of view. Makes a good point. I've never heard it explained this way before. Oh, great. I don't know which part it was, but I'm glad you found it beneficial. Sam Ree Health says, I never inhale hydrogen, but I drink hydrogen water. Helps me a lot. Yeah, the hydrogen water is kind of foundational. You always want to do the hydrogen water first, actually. The gas inhalation, see, I would say that hydrogen gas inhalation, even in Japan, they actually use it when it's a medical emergency. So in an emergency, yeah, you get the hydrogen gas in your system right away. In regards to the water is more for your health, foundational, important. Kind of like an IV, they can put it in you to try to hydrate you real quick, things of that nature. But yeah, drinking the waters, that's how I got started. And now I do the combination of both, which is why this machine, I mean, when they developed the machine that I'm using, you guys should know the story about the guy who did it. It's crazy because all the other people who develop products, you know, they're made in China. They use cheap metals like stainless steel or the lye that, you know, we were just talking about a little bit ago. And they don't want to put the proper money into a product because it's too difficult. And the guy who did this product, he knew that he had to make the water and the gas, and he did it because his own daughter was literally going to die. So I don't know if you guys know about this story, but it's an amazing story. And he's like, there's no way I'm going to have it made in China. You know, he didn't want to do any of that, and for good reason. Mr. Hydro Guy says, thanks for your contribution. I appreciate the constructive criticism. Yeah, and just so you know, you don't want to be inhaling oxygen all the time either. And Brown's gas always has extra supplemental oxygen. You should look at the data on that. It isn't good. And so, okay, moving on again. And by the way, the other problem with Brown's gas is the molecule is too big because it's mixing everything. And there's even other gases that they don't even know they're producing, which could potentially be dangerous. But the point is that when the molecules are too big, you can get deep into the mitochondria just like pure hydrogen does. And that's literally data also. And it doesn't dissolve good in water. You want it to dissolve in water really good. Tom Borland says, and you could even name the product because there's different Brown's gas devices. Some are worse than others. Some are safer than others, just so you know, but some are like really bad. So actually, you can comment if you want and tell me which one it is. Tom Borland says, hit the 3 little dots in the upper right corner, and then you can see the thumbs up. Oh, thanks, Tom. Good suggestion. The wavy one says, they have changed the live stream layout for the live streams. There should be 3 dots on the top right corner of the screen. You have to click on that now. Also took me a while to figure it out. Oh, I see. Well, thanks for all the thumbs up, guys. I see 16 of them. Thank you. Ed says, got it, thanks. So are you still there, Mr. Hydro Guy? I can even look up the machine you're talking about. See if, hopefully it's one of the better ones. Some of them, I mean, I'm not kidding you when I tell you, you have to be really, really cautious in the world of hydrogen. And it's sad, actually. I don't think, it sucks, you know. You'd want to make sure that all the water filters out there are good, or that all the supplements are good. And yet, I mean, I don't know if you guys heard of that girl that died from liver failure from taking some supplement. Health supplement. Can you believe that? Health supplement ended up killing her. That's what I'm talking about, you know? These companies don't care. They really don't. And like I said, the story about the guy who created the Hydrofix, unbelievable story. His daughter was supposed to, I mean, she was born with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. She'd be lucky to make it to the age of 5 years old. I mean, that's sad. And so anyway, he wanted to develop the best hydrogen machine ever created. He knew the science was really good on it, and he wanted to develop not only the best one for home use, basically, ended up surpassing all expectations. So many medical centers are using it over in Japan for even fertility clinics for men and women, by the way, really good for hormones. It even appears to be good for like testosterone, anti-aging, obviously, nutrient absorption, anti-inflammatory, good for energy, for like your mitochondria, potentially, well, I've seen really good results for dementia, Alzheimer's, eye conditions. You guys should see my eyes when they got tested. It was wild. You should see my kidney health and my, even the condition of my bladder. I mean, on and on it goes. The way that, the blood, the way it moves the blood. Okay, the wavy one says, I wonder if the people who make these lackluster products even use their own equipment. Now that's a really funny comment because I do have some inside information on this one. And there's more than one. There's literally companies that are selling these products, and the owners of those companies, I found out, I won't tell you how I found out because I probably shouldn't disclose that. All I'll tell you is I found out that they actually use the Hydrofix. They literally bought a Hydrofix for themselves while they're selling their products. Everybody in the real know, like, and I say the real know, there's very few people who truly know. They know that this is the best one. They know it, and they'll sell other stuff because the profits are so big. That's the other thing I found out. I found out that a lot of companies don't want to even carry the product because it's so expensive to make. It's just darn right hilarious. Interesting question though, the wavy one, but you're absolutely right. Tom Borland says, I am loving life with my smoothie and my hydrogen water. Waiting now for my carbon distiller. I feel incredible, great mood. Tom, awesome. You know, there's somebody else who's doing that. Some guy I just happened to meet going to this place where I do some saunas once in a while. And we got him on the clean water too. And he started making some changes in his lifestyle. And he actually already looks better too. And he says he's feeling so much better. Preppy X thing says, hi, can you please read my comment? I just did. Starting to already get the vibe that that's a scammer, you know, or a bot or whatever. Anyway. So funny, please read my comment that says hi. Okay, why doesn't somebody ask a worthwhile question? All right, well guys, I'll say goodbye. I gotta make more smoothie. I'm gonna go on a beautiful, beautiful trip / drive today. It's gonna be really nice. Kirsten Chambers says, so Hydrogen Fix, yes, is the name of the device in your nose. What is the carbon distiller? Okay, so Kirsten, if you wanna see, it's called a Hydrofix. It's actually called the Lourdes Hydrofix Premium. If you wanna go to the official website, go to holyhydrogen.com. Somebody can maybe write it for her. And you can actually see the exact same piece of equipment that makes both the water and the gas, which is why it's so good. It does both at a really high level, meaning super high purity, medical grade. This is important. And then on top of it all, the machines are super reliable, which is so great because most of them out there aren't. And these machines just last super long time. So you can make hydrogen for years and years and years and years. They just keep running. As far as the carbon distiller, you can see right here, that's that right there. And that basically truly, truly purifies water. If you want to see my video number 388, where I show the data, I show the lab test, it's not even that expensive. You go to a website called mypurewater.com, and my discount codes are always the same. It's always uprising 144K. And the carbon distiller takes 3 to 6 hours to purify 1 gallon of water. That may sound like a real pain in the rear, but clean water, I could show you my jugs that I fill. If you even knew, like if I showed you the lab reports, which I know I don't have here right now, absolutely insane what's in our water. And an average water filter cannot filter it out. And you know what, and I'll even show you why. I think I even have a chart here, even though I already have it in my head. But you guys wanna hear what's in our water? We're talking from inorganic contaminants like lead, mercury, arsenic, nitrates, on it goes. Radioactive contaminants, that's the one that surprised me on the lab test when I saw radioactive contaminants like radium, uranium, even plutonium. Biological contaminants, so now we're talking like E. coli, we're talking parasites, bacterias, viruses, cysts, spores, I mean, crazy. And even other types of contaminants like herbicides, pesticides, pharmaceuticals, I mean, and these lab reports, I mean, they shock the heck out of me. But here's the big problem with your average water filter. So when you put the water through a filter, it's what's called a porous filter. So the porous filter, if you take a lab test, the water will show, it probably did a decent job of filtering it. Not perfect, but it's like, okay, it filtered out some chlorine or whatever. What happens if you test that after 1,000 gallons of going through that filter? Like, let's say you have a company that says, well, this filter will last 5,000 gallons. It's like, okay, well, what does the water look like after 1,000? The quality of your water is always going down with those type of filters, okay? When you do carbon distillation, it's always the same quality every single time and higher purity. So the carbon filters would be here. This would be a carbon distiller, and the carbon filters will just kind of go like this, where the carbon distiller will always be super high quality water. So anyway, hopefully that helps. And then Chris says, okay, Nito. Kristen Chambers says, do you believe in structured water? Okay, I've seen the scientific data on structured water. Does it help somewhat? A little bit. You know what it really is doing? It's mostly oxygenating the water. And oxygenating water helps bring down certain pathogens because oxygen kills things. But you'd be surprised to find out you could just put water in a blender, and the blender will structure water. Structured water is a little vague term also because just like hydrogen, there's different ways of structuring it. I found a piece of equipment in Japan and a lot of scientific study behind it, and it truly does do some things. Nothing to the level of what hydrogen's doing. It won't be medically approved. It probably should be used mostly for agriculture. And the device would be like $7,000. It's just not really worth it. Just so you know, if you were to shake a bottle of water for like, I believe it's like 30 seconds, even that oxygenates your water. So I don't think it's worth it. Let's put it that way. I don't think structured water equipment is worth it. Hence the reason I don't even have one. But I've seen the data. Now I do want to get that $7,000 one, only for the whole house though. Mostly just to keep everything cleaner. And I would love to get one for the whole house someday. And the way that they're structured is very different. I can't give away their secrets right now, but maybe someday I'll talk about it. The wavy one says, I stopped drinking tap water back in 2017. There's just no way I'd put that stuff in me. Completely agree. I do never want to put tap water in me. Or at least try to minimize it. Tom Borland said, if you could see the inside of the pipes bringing the water to your residence, you would throw up. I completely agree. I'm very well aware of it actually. And that's exactly why I carbon distill my water, because I don't want to put that in my mouth. Just so you guys know, I'm actually a germaphobe. I don't want to put that stuff in my mouth. It's horrible. I mean, it's terrible, but I understand pathogens. Kirsten says, I think I noticed that HHO Brown's guy never did comment about his equipment. He's probably embarrassed at this point, but all right, whatever. It's all good. All just to try to do good things. Oh, see right here? Here's a chart too. So the blue line is carbon distiller. Same quality of water every time. This is all other types of filters. The more you filter, the quality goes down more and more constantly. And that kind of water is really dangerous for children. Guys, if you're wondering why kids are as crazy as they are these days, look at the food and the water you're giving them. I mean, it's crazy because children are more susceptible to these things because their livers, their kidneys, their brains, their bodies are not fully developed yet. That's just, again, that's data. That's like scientific fact. Kirsten Chambers says, so glad I found you. Thanks for sharing so much. You're very welcome. Yee, is bottled water good? No. So bottled water, so one of the biggest problems right now is we have such high levels of microplastics all over the place, and water appears to be the #1 source of microplastics, guys. Bottled water, if anybody has a sensitive palate like I do, it tastes like plastic. And there's clearly microplastics in there, in my opinion. And one thing you can do if you want to test it, put some bottled water in some type of container that you can heat up, so boil it, and drink the water when it's really hot, almost like tea. You'll probably be more sensitive to the taste that way. But bottled water is, if that's all you have, that's all you have. But usually I like to make my own with my carbon distiller, and it's cheaper. That's the crazy part too. I know I never like to think about money when it comes to your health, but bottled water is the most expensive way of trying to get clean water. A carbon distiller will pay itself off probably in 6 months or less, depending on how much you're using it, and then it'll just make the cleanest water for almost the rest of your life. So hopefully that helps. Kyla Berta says, do you ever use H2 bags sold by Holy Hydrogen? Yes, in fact, I'm going to be taking some with me today. And it's a really good way of containing the hydrogen if you make the hydrogen in a stable manner, which obviously I do, which is with the Hydrofix. And yes, I'll be using those H2 bags. I made a video about it before, how to use them. I definitely use them. Mostly when you have to go somewhere, you know, hike, some type of trip or something of that nature. All right, another deep breath. Breathe in that hydrogen. All right, guys, deep into the lungs. Any last questions before I say goodbye? Any last questions? If not, thanks for the thumbs up. I guess we got 16 today. I appreciate you guys, those 16 thumbs up. Can you believe I got to make another smoothie? I only like making one a day. I don't like making two. Carol Orton says, I don't drink out of the H2 bag, but do you ever have to wash it or how to clean it? Yeah. So basically, for the hydrogen pouch, it's not really designed to be drank out of. It's more of a way of transporting hydrogen water, and then you would pour it into a cup. And then what I would do, honestly, is I just put like some tap water because there's chlorine in it and stuff, and then you just shake it in there, dump all the water out, and just let it dry. I don't think you're supposed to use soaps or anything. I've never done that before, and I don't believe you're supposed to. Kayla says, do you get a sleeve for them? If so, do you have a recommendation? I did get some sleeves for them that I just found randomly. I've never been able to find them again, but yeah, having a sleeve for them would be really great, but I don't unfortunately have a suggestion of where to get them. Carol Orton says, what I meant to say was, or is, I have an H2 bag, but I put the water in a glass instead of drinking straight from the bag. Yeah, that's kind of what you're supposed to do. Do you ever have to clean it if you do that way? Again, the only thing you probably have to do is just put like tap water in it and shake it, you know, really, really good. You can do that a few times, and that's about it. No soap or anything. You can probably wipe down the opening area, but it should stay pretty clean. I noticed that things stay cleaner when you use carbon distilled water too. So that's been kind of interesting. In fact, it has a longer shelf life too, as far as how long. It was funny to think that water actually goes bad. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. Any last ones, guys? Anybody before I say goodbye? Surprise for a Monday. How many people showed up today? And I'll say goodbye with this, guys. This is kind of cool. If you guys have never heard of The Hidden Messages in Water by another Japanese guy, Masaru Emoto, proving that water has memory. But look at the pictures on this. This is water when they speak to it, play music to it, literally like pray to it, and you think that it's not real. And man, it turned out that it was. But just so you know, I was very skeptical of all this. And the pictures are literally just beautiful. And look how beautiful this is. Isn't that just pure beauty? Look at that. Oh my goodness. Now, if you want to see when they said bad things to the water, oh wow, look, this is Elvis Presley. They played Elvis Presley's song. Let's see. Yes, I have that book. Yeah, it's cool, right? Tom says, have a great trip. Thank you. I'm going to be going to some magical waters, guys. These are the pretty pictures. You guys want to see the ugly ones when they say something terrible to the water? So this top one says, you're cute. This bottom one says, you're a fool. That actually looks like a disease under a microscope. Okay. Thank you. Kirsten Chambers says, oh, last question. Aside from your website, and just so you know, I don't have a website, so I don't know what you're talking about there. Do you have to add, that's weird, aside from your website, do you have to add minerals back into the water when you use the carbon distiller? You don't have to. You can. I have some minerals that I add periodically to it. What I actually started doing was putting the minerals, and I've been doing this for a long time, putting them in the smoothie because you get way better absorption of organic minerals, and so rather than inorganic minerals. So I combine it with the fiber because the research shows that it actually absorbs better. So that's how I do it. And Kirsten Chambers says, I asked above if you had a website. Oh, it says, oh, last question, aside from your, if I had a website. You know, I don't. The reason that I don't is because I always wanted to give everything to everybody for free. And maybe I should, you know, people say, oh, you should open a website, you should charge for your material. I just wanted to give it for free. I always thought that that would be the best thing. I didn't want to charge people for stuff. I didn't even want this to really become a job. I was just sharing what it is that I discovered. And so no, I don't have a website. The YouTube channel, you know, it's free. And everything on it is free. I don't charge for any memberships or anything. The only thing that I would potentially charge for is consults that I would have to do with somebody individually, especially when they have some pretty severe conditions going on. It's very time consuming to explain to people what they would have to do, and there's different protocols depending on the person and all that kind of stuff. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And if you have any last questions, this is your last chance to ask them. We are live here. And I'm actually, you know what? I am going to have a little hydrogen water. Somebody was asking if I was going to have any more, but I am going to rinse out my cup at the very end when I'm done with the smoothie. And so I'm going to put a little hydrogen water in here just to clean out the cup. And might as well have clean hydrogen water rather than any other kind of water. Might as well. All right, guys, last questions. Mr. Oh, he came back. Is there insurance? Oh, so you were listening the whole time, but you never commented on what equipment you have. So what's the name of the equipment you have? This will be good to know for all of us, actually. Might as well share. Is there insurance that will help with the purchase of this machine? Insurance? I don't know what that means. Oh, you have the George Wiseman machine? Oh my gosh. Okay, well that's funny that you say that, because actually, that's the one that I used before, and I learned everything about that machine. And I hate to give you bad news, I can't believe you're using that one. You should get your blood tested, because in my opinion, that's actually the worst hydrogen machine of all the machines out there. The amount of lye that thing uses, and just so you know, that thing is actually a welding device that you can buy for like $40-something. I don't know if you've seen that. I've shown people how to do it, even though personally I wouldn't even use it even if it was $40. Actually, he sent me one for free because he was trying to pay me to promote his product, and when I saw how it works, the cheap metal that they use, the amount of the chemical lye that they use, it's horrible actually. It's just the worst machine. If it was really great, I would be happy to share it, but man, that one makes me actually sad. I've had way too many emails from that one in regards to people having some pretty nasty effects from that one. And then you say health insurance. Is there health insurance that helps with the purchase? Honestly, I don't know anything about that. I don't know if there's health insurance. I've had to pay for all mine actually, so I didn't use insurance with that. So yeah, be really cautious. In fact, I could show you, I don't know if you've seen the pictures or you've seen my videos. I could literally show you a picture of what that machine actually is, because all they do is paint a device. Let's see if I can find, I don't remember the name of it, because it's actually a different name of a device. I don't know, let's see, I don't know if you care, I don't even know if you care to see it or not, but it's always good to know the truth. And oh yeah, there it is. Let's see here. So it's basically, yeah, you can get them you can get them super cheap, because they're welding equipment is what they are. Oh, I guess somebody's at the door. Yeah, the H160. Yeah, so I don't know if you've seen it. And I mean, this is basically what it looks like. Well, I don't, oops. Let's see here. You know, I mean, you probably already know, but that's basically what it looks like is this thing. And if you look hard enough, you can find them for about $50. But in my opinion, it's a total ripoff, because they're not really meant for humans. You should never inhale that stuff. It's not meant for humans. And when they say to filter out through bubbling it through water, but if you bubble through water, you're gonna lose the hydrogen. It's just that none of it makes any sense. Okay, let's see here. Kirsten says, I have been using Express Water brand 11-step filtration with UV, reverse osmosis, alkaline, activated carbon filter. Have you heard of it? Yes, I've heard of these type of water filters. Look, is it filtering your water to some extent? Yes. If you want the best, is it the best? No, because nothing can do what a carbon distiller does, you know, as far as water filters, because you're basically, you're running it through a type of filter, which is a reverse osmosis, and then you're also using a carbon filter, and that's all great. Now, as far as alkaline, they try to add these minerals to it. I'm not a huge fan of that personally, because I don't know who's making those minerals, where they're coming from. A lot of these water filter companies, just so you know, some are even undergoing some lawsuits because of the filters being made in China, and the water was coming out worse, which is crazy. It's coming out worse after filtration in some aspects. In other aspects, it wasn't. So, but I'm not saying it's a bad water filter. I'm just saying, is it going to do what a carbon distiller does? No. But I mean, I have a reverse osmosis filter too. I take that water and put it in my carbon distiller. That's what I do. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question. Carol says, so as long as you're putting your minerals in the smoothie, you don't have to add minerals to the glass of distilled water or hydrogen water that you drink. In my opinion, you don't have to. If you want to, you can. Mr. Hydrogen Guy, do you have any recommendations for people who really don't have the money to afford the Holy Hydrogen Machine? Well, for one, I mean, the Brown's gas device you mentioned is actually the same price, which is crazy. And the only thing that I can advise, I mean, it's like asking, what do you tell people who can't afford a car or a house or clothes? I mean, you know, I know what I've had to do. I've had to work all my life and I've had to make sacrifices financially. As you can see, I don't buy the coolest clothes and I've just had to make certain sacrifices, and I drive an old, quote unquote, beat up kind of older car, and that's just the things that I've had to do in order to buy all the stuff that I've wanted that are important to me and my health. So I don't really have any other suggestions. You know, there's no way of being able to build your own. You know, people say you can build these things your own. No way. The metal technology that it takes just alone, you'd never be able to do it. Try to build your own samurai sword, for example. You'll never be able to do it. I mean, we're talking high level of expertise in technology. So I'm really sorry about that, but you know, I don't know what else to tell you on that one. But okay, guys, I guess that's all the questions for today. I sincerely wish you all the best. I hope you're okay, Mr. Hydro Guy. I would highly recommend, just my personal opinion, I wouldn't use that machine anymore. You know, I hate to tell you that. I have some inside information on that. I don't think you're gonna be doing yourself any favors in regards to your health, unfortunately. And just so you know, stainless steel is never good for making hydrogen because in time it won't even produce any hydrogen. The thing will just be bubbling and there's probably no hydrogen in there. It's not a very good metal to use for hydrogen production, but it's very cheap. That's why they use it. Okay, Kirsten says, love your energy, friend. I am starting a platform on here soon. Would love to do a live chat with you or something fun. Hey, let me know, that'd be cool. Kayla says, safe travels. Mr. Hydro Guy says, thanks. And I guess that's all, guys. Thanks for watching. And you know, by the way, Mr. Hydro Guy, there is something interesting on the internet. If you want, you can email me later and maybe I'll give you a link to it. I just found this really interesting video about this whole topic. A guy who is a chemical engineer that was using that device that you're using. It's a super interesting story. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.